So when we get someone who maybe is a little bit, I hope this works, should there be something we should be doing to get them in that zone
Well,
before?
no, they're most likely they might start pretending to be in that zone. But listen, everything is a frequency, and disbelief too is a frequency.
Yeah.
As long as a person, this is my perspective, as long as a person is not in disbelief,
Yeah.
then the frequencies that you send their way will have effect.
Okay.
The greater the belief, the more the effect. But the mere fact of I hope this works
There's
shows you that something the door is open.
open.
When they have closed off their frequency, they have that right to
Yes.
close the door. And if the door is closed, don't be so arrogant as to think that your frequency is stronger than theirs in their own orbit.
Yeah.
We are all in our own orbits, and the planets don't bump into each other because they are in their own orbits. If they ever got out of their own orbits, they would sway across the solar system and collide, but they never do because they understand that their orbit is their own. So everyone's orbit is stronger for them than yours. When the door is open, you can merge energies. But when it's not, you're wasting your time. And that's a hard pill to swallow, especially when it's somebody that you love. But when they open that, when the door finally opens, it'll come flooding right in. But I went, see, I just went off on a tangent after not, I was doing good. But when you, but to answer your question, because I would like to, I did answer it, but I want to go right back and answer it again, just so that I'm clear. I hope this works. Is not, they're not at zero. They are on the side of it working.
Awesome.
And then the more progress that they see, the more they will say it is working, and then it will just speed up
Yep.
exponentially.
The door keeps opening.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And remember, this isn't up to us. Um, People are in their own journey, and sometimes there's other things they have to go through before they're even ready, and they may never be called to this.
That's right.
So we can only do our part and keep our expectation and our focus.
Yeah.
So to influence.
I'm just wondering, Dr. Darrell, is there, before you scan somebody that we may think is a little bit skeptical, is there any protocols that you would put in place to maybe change that, change their frequency before? Like, would you put them on a PEMF mat? Would you use the rain before you even scan them?
So I was about to ask you if they were there, but your question lets me know that in the scenario that you're talking about, that they're there. When I'm dealing with somebody that doesn't seem to have that right frequency, no, I don't do any of those things. That for me is when, and I'm completely changing the topic of my talk, but I think it's important. That for me is when the bone conducting headphones become imperative because you have to change the conversation. When you're talking about frequency in the way that people see as woo woo, they don't see touch as woo woo. They might say that's silly, but they don't see it as energy coming through the air. And so I move away from the conversation and I only talk about the fact that we're going to listen to their voice. They might not understand, but they do know that their voice print is similar to a handprint or a footprint. And so they might not understand how you can get anything out of it, but usually they're a little piqued by that. And then when you have that happening and and I'm running their scan and they're not just hearing it but feeling a vibration, they don't understand that, but they feel something. And so now you have gotten outside of their emotional body and you're in their physical body because that's where they live right now, in their physical body. And all of these things are physical. For those people, I even let the Cephis run with the sound up because they don't understand the concept of transferring frequencies via vibration, but they're less inclined to reject it because they can hear it and they can feel it, right? And so now they've experienced that and they've experienced it in the realm of the physical. Now, when I look at their report and I go over things with them, I'm showing them, and I don't tell them otherwise. So by default, they tend to think that their voice did all of this. And if I leave them in that mindset long enough to help them, By the time they realized that it's more than just their voice, now they don't care because I've proven that this can help them before I took them completely out of the resistance. Can I expound on it a little bit more? Okay. So my brother, he's gonna kill me because he's gonna see this. Um, he was experiencing something about 6 months ago. And it was a physical thing, and he knew that I'm a naturopath, and he knows that I work with energy and etc. And he called me and he just said, "Okay, look, I need for you to help me. I don't understand everything. I just need for you to help me." And I said, "Okay," because I'd been asking him over and over for about a year and a half, "Why don't you allow me to scan?" And just basically telling him that I do things. And this particular time, I'm sorry, before he said that, I told him that I said I wasn't going to ask again, but you really seem to be in need. I am going to ask one more time. And so he said, "Well, what do you need from me?" And like someone else said, "Well, I already got your information, but go ahead and send me a voice sample." He sent me a voice sample. I ran an easy scan. I was able to see what was going on, meaning what he told me was happening. I was able to see it in the scan. And I sent him the voice print, or excuse me, his inner voice scan back. And I said, "Can you listen to these with headphones?" And about an hour later, I sent him a text message and I said, "I just want to assess because I assessed before 1 to 10. How bad is this right now?" It was 10. And it had been 10 for about 3 months every day. And his response back was, "I am so sorry. Please don't be annoyed with me, but I haven't listened to your tones yet." And so now I got to tell him because I want my answer. I could have waited, but I didn't want to wait. And I said, "Listen, what I did has nothing to do with your listening to those tones. I'm asking you a different question. What is it between 1 and 10?" And then he responded back about 5 minutes later and said, "Okay, I just assessed this. I'm sure that this is in my brain, but it's at about an 8 now." We went on, and by the next day, we were down to like a 2 or a 3. Now, mind you, he had been at a 10 for months. So there was no placebo effect going on here. This wasn't a chance. He wasn't just about to come out of this. This just he, it didn't happen on the day that I did my scan. No part of him thought that. And so now he's my biggest fan. Now he's all on board. But after he got a thorough understanding, because he called me and said, "Explain to me what this is." And now he says, "If you had told me what this was prior to doing it, I probably would have still sent you the voice scan, but I would have felt like I was annoyed that you knew the seriousness of my situation and still wasted my time with this joke. And I don't know that I would have taken any of this." He said the best thing that ever happened was the fact that I didn't know what you were doing until I already got better. And that is not why I do what I told you. That reinforces, oh, yeah, when you get people who aren't with this, leave all of the talk into an area that they can understand. And when they get better, they won't care anymore. And if they never understand, they still won't care. Sorry for taking that long on your ass. Thanks.